Hey, welcome inside. This episode is Zippy's Garage. In today's episode, we're taking a ride over to visit and get a private tour of the AWE Exhaust Company over in Horsham, Pennsylvania, and we're going to take a look at a world exclusive for the C8 Z06 exhaust system that they're working on. So stick around. Hey, thanks for pushing that play button. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Zippity Doodah, and this YouTube channel is dedicated to the fun and games of being an automotive enthusiast. More of a Corvette lifestyle channel more than a how-to channel. And this episode kind of typifies that exact point about being a lifestyle channel. Today, we're taking the C5 Corvette. You can see I got it down off of the lift. We've got the C7 over in the regular garage spot, but we took the C5 out for a ride today with my local Corvette club, the original Garden State Corvette Club, and we got a private tour of AWE Exhaust Company, or AWE Tuning. You see, I got the t-shirt. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We have returned from the tour, and we get a behind-the-scenes look at their facility. We take you on a full tour of their operation. Everything is made here in the United States, in fact, in Pennsylvania, of all places, and then they ship worldwide. But the really cool thing about this video is it's going to get us a first look at their development prototype exhaust system for the new C8 2023 Corvette Z06. So we get to take a closer look at that. We get to listen to it and stick around to the end of the video because we'll get exhaust clips from that C8Z. Plus, we're going to do a rev off with a couple of C7 Corvettes and a C8 Corvette that are currently running the AWE exhaust systems. So without any further ado, let's head over to Horsham, Pennsylvania and connect up with the original Garden State Corvette Club and AWE Exhaust. All right, like I said, we are out at AWE Exhaust with the original Garden State Corvette Club and a good buddy of mine. Everybody knows Mustang Jim in the club, but I got the C5 out today. We got Mustang Jim with his beautiful Mach 1. We got Steve with his Black Rose Metallic convertible. Jeff with our beautiful C7. Frank and Sue with their orange C7, and then the Red Mist C8 owned by Lynn. So we got the original Garden State Corvette Club, some of the members out here midweek. So let's go inside and we're gonna go in and say hello to our tour guide, Sarah from AWE. This place is located right up in Horsham, Pennsylvania, suburb of Philadelphia, and they do some amazing work on amazing cars. We're gonna head inside and meet our tour guide today. I have a long-standing relationship with these guys. My old office used to be near their old location, and their test track was kind of right outside of my office. So I would hear something drive by that sounded really good, and then at lunch, I would take a ride over to their location and find out exactly what drove past me. So here's our tour guide today, Sarah.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So thanks for having us in today. So what do you got set up out here today?
So we have some Corvette systems. We figured we'd pander to the audience. We have the C8 system here, the C7 system on the table. That's one of the touring sections. And we're in the showroom right now, but we're gonna take you guys all the way around the building, show you guys some behind the scenes stuff, and we have a special treat with the C8 Z06 later on.
Yeah, I did hear that there's a C8 Z06 getting some work done here.
Oh, yeah.
So which exhaust? This is the C8 exhaust, you said?
Yep, this is the C8 exhaust. This is the touring edition. This one was the one with our integrated tips, but our newest ones have adjustable tips as well, so we've upgraded those, but this is a great representation of what the system looks like.
Excellent. You see here, folks, you got the 180 technology by AWE, and I'll let Sarah kind of talk to that point.
Sure. So 180 technology, this is actually a Helmholtz style resonator, so it is not a packed resonator. It's completely straight through. Its main job is to kill drone. So it takes drone frequencies, and due to some openings in the can, it makes them 180 degrees out, hence the name.
There you go.
And that way you can enjoy your system when you're stepping in the throttle, but when you're cruising at cruising speeds on the highway, you don't have to deal with drones. So this guy's the best of both worlds.
Very nice, very nice. And then we got some, some treats. I love the blow pops because every AWE system, if you've ever ordered, know it comes with a lollipop. So you gotta love that. So You can see all the different C8 exhaust products here. And then you said this was the C7 piece here?
Yep, this is a touring section for the C7. Same 180 technology, just slightly different to adapt to that gen. Yep.
Excellent. So again, guys, they have the products for the C7 and for the C8 Corvette, and soon to come, we're going to see it here exclusive of that C8 Z06.
Yep, you got it.
All right, here we go. We're starting our tour.
Cool, so we'll start in here. We'll give you guys a little bit of the history of the company. This is our meeting room, but it has some relics on the wall that I can show you guys. So some of you asked, what does AWE stand for? And because we started in the European space, this is what it stands for. But then they've since dropped the tuning of the AWE tuning, so it's just AWE, and we've since expanded outside of the original Porsche, Volkswagen, Audi, air-cooled type stuff that they started with.
Yeah,
this is actually the original door for the original building. Wow. And they kept it just as a nice reminder of like how far we've come, because obviously this is a beautiful facility, and this used to be basically a barn. And then there's a little bit of an Easter egg back here. You guys were asking sort of the development of the company, so you can see that it started out with those old Porsches, Volkswagen, Audi, and then about 5-10 years ago, like you were saying, we expanded into more Euro, so BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Mini, like you were saying, that was like 2014, 2015. And then ever since then, it sort of exploded. We got into sport compact, modern muscle, and our latest Jeep and truck, which have been huge for us. So the truck market, especially the Silverados, Sierras, are like one of our best selling because they just sound so good.
You know, and you mentioned the Mini. Folks may remember I had a John Cooper Works Mini, and I worked with these guys here at AWE to help develop their air intake system on that car. And funny little sidebar, when I met Jesse at Corvettes at Carlisle one year, he was shocked to see me at Carlisle at a Corvette event. He goes, "You're a Mini guy. What are you doing here at Corvettes at Carlisle?" So had to let Jesse know that I was a little bit involved in the Corvette hobby as well. So.
Apparently it can overlap.
Very cool. So,
a car guy's a car guy.
So love seeing the heritage on where the company started. So.
Yeah, me too. Cool, so now that we have a little bit of background about the company, we can show you sort of how business works. We're going to start with the marketing department. This is in-house marketing. All of it's done in here by us. We have Josh in the corner there, our marketing manager.
What's up, man? What's up, brother? How you been? Okay. Good to see you, man. So like I said, Josh and I worked on the Mini Cooper project together, so very cool. That was quite a while ago. Good to see you still here, my friend. Sorry about that little sidebar.
This is sort of where a product begins. So Brandon, our product manager behind here, also part of the marketing department. He starts out with research into the product. So who else makes it? Can we make it cooler? What does the OEM look like? All the background information that our R&D and engineering team needs, Brandon is our go-to guy. And sometimes when we are doing research, we don't go ahead with a product for one reason or another, but this is where it starts out. And if we think we can do better, we go ahead and send it down the line to the smart people.
Very nice.
A little sidebar here, we have our in-house sales team. This is one of our great reps, Sky. Sky's awesome. He knows everything about everything, and he will bend over backwards to help our customers. So, Sky's the man.
Very nice, Sky. Thanks.
And then all of the rest of our sales reps are remote or in another part of the country or the world, so that when they're in, this is where they sit.
This is a shout out to John Voss, who's working from home today. So that's where John was one of the guys that I worked with quite a bit back in my early days with AWE.
Yep. So then here's where sort of the fun begins. This is our engineering and R&D section. When a product gets approved, the next step is to head over to these guys, and the first thing they do is scan the underneath of the OEM with the Faro arm. So they'll bring in a completely stock car, completely stock exhaust, and scan the bottom of it with that arm to get a better idea of how they want to design the system and the system path itself. But the fun part starts with the sound testing, which we can talk about out here.
Very cool.
All right, glasses on if you don't have them on already.
One thing that doesn't come through on the video, guys, is you could eat off the floors in here right now. Guys are on break, so it's a little bit quiet right now, which is kind of what we wanted. But the place is absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna
here's a perfect example. We have the Mark 8 GTI, and so when a product gets approved, it gets scanned by our engineering team, and they work on a prototype. So it's a little bit different for an intake versus an exhaust. An intake, the first thing we do is 3D print a bunch of versions, and it's pretty rapid prototyping, so we're able to actually get that on the car and get all the way to our final prototype, and even dyno test with that 3D printed prototype on there. So Really, really cool. I'll show you the dyno in a second, but for an exhaust, once we get that general path that the engineers use with the ferro arm, they can see sort of how they want the exhaust to fit. At that point, it goes into sound testing. So they'll continue to do iteration after iteration until it's absolutely perfect. Some things we can get right in a few tries, but we don't stop until we get it absolutely exactly how we want it. And actually, this car took about 20 prototypes. It was an entire palette full of like resonators we didn't like, because the different resonators make a difference, the different placement of the resonator in the exhaust makes a difference. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and I don't know that everyone else is doing that, so that's a cool part about us there. So we can take a look a little bit more down the R&D area. The guys are on break right now, so it's quiet.
It's not a bad thing because it's good for the audio for what we're doing here.
Yep. So there's a few pipes there on the table. That's one of our final prototyping stages, so they'll actually start welding the prototype being a fixture. So that way we can ensure that every single one ends up exactly the same. Yeah, I was just saying that we use the fixturing that you see there. We design it off the final prototype, and that fixture is what every single piece is welded in. That's how we ensure the perfect fitment guarantee.
Very cool.
Yeah, we'll see some more of those in a second.
Like she was saying, this is the stock exhaust that came off of a C8 Z06 that we're going to be upgrading. Then some additional parts for that Z06. So more to come on what the C8 Z06 is going to look like.
This is our marketing section. We do all of our photography, videography, and everything in-house. So we do our product photography right in here, and then whenever we do like a rundown video or an install video, it's all done right here as well. So it's a cool little marketing area. That's basically my lift. You know, it doesn't have my name on it, but cool. So then this is basically where the R&D engineering process ends, and that is with the dyno here.
What do we have sitting on the dyno?
The Z06. It's about to be dynoed eventually. We can't dyno it today, but we're going to turn it on and rev it for you guys in a minute. I'm going to grab an engineer, but basically the reason why we have the dyno in here, we don't actually do any tuning, is to make sure that every single thing we make makes power. I can't tell you how many times we've had to come here and then go back to the drawing board, make sure that we have a perfectly designed system so that it can make power. A lot of times with newer systems, you're not going to make a ton of power with only an exhaust, but it does show a performance gain over stock, and that's what we're after.
So such a cool Corvette that's out here today. So it's a Elkhart Lake Blue Z06 Coupe, and the Elkhart Lake Blue is discontinued now from Chevrolet. And this also has the Z07 package with the carbon fiber wheels, with the yellow brake caliper behind it. Really nice spec on this Z06. You can see the yellow stitch and the yellow seat belt, but you can see how wide these hips are and that air intake that is on this Z06. And like I said, it's an absolutely stunning piece. And pulling off of, you know, the carbon fiber on the wheels, the high aero, and the black diffuser or carbon flash diffuser, these tips look amazing on the back of this Z06. So further development to come, but the sound is amazing on this. And like Sarah was saying, they're going to work to make sure that this thing actually is making a decent amount of power, not just sound, correct?
Yes, it will have a performance improvement over stock. We're not going to release it unless we can show a performance improvement, yeah. A lot of times the OEM does a great job of designing it so it's really efficient, but we can always squeeze a little bit more out of there, so we try to do that.
Very, very cool. So more to come from AWE on this new Z06 exhaust, but let's continue with the tour.
Let's go. So now that we've sort of seen how we go through R&D, that's the basic R&D process, I can show you guys, like if you were to place an order, exactly how it goes through our manufacturing floor. So we kind of do have that two sides. One is designing new products, and other is making the products that we design. So as you guys can see, we have a ton. Well, we had more material at the beginning of the week, but we have the T304L stainless. We only deal in T304, and like I was saying to you, it has a wall thickness of 0.065. So it's a little bit thicker than what everyone else is using, and that allows us to have that deep sound that we're going after, so it doesn't sound tinny at all or anything like that. So yeah, the high quality materials starting there makes a huge difference, so that's what we go after.
So guys, to put it in perspective, here's their receiving door. So it's coming right in this back door as raw material like you see here that's stored, and then from here, the designers and engineers figured everything out, and then they're gonna manufacture it right here in-house in Horsham, Pennsylvania,
exactly,
which is
right
really, really cool.
And we'll take you through the manufacturing floor since they're not running, so we can go through the center of it. So So basically, the pieces come off of the racks and they're cut down here on these first two machines. From there, it goes to the Crippa, which you can see a piece in there that's being bent. Technically, that machine could bend an exhaust system front to back the length of a car. But obviously, you can't pack that. It's hard to install.
Right.
But still, the reason why it does that is to allow us to have really smooth bends, and that's how you get that performance gain, by having the most smooth system, and that allows us to do that. So we cut it down into manageable sections. We call them pick letters, but that machine helps us get to achieve those smooth manageable bends. After it's cut and bent, it will be deburred, and then they'll prep it to head to weld, which we'll show you guys in a second. You can take a closer look at the Crippa through there. And that's the machine that can do these super, super precise, smooth bends. And we try to batch the pick letters. So we make them into several of the same pick letter. That way the welders can just crank through. They don't have to change their fixture every time. They're also slotted, expanded, all the prep work's done here.
So this is going to allow the exhaust systems to come together as, like you said, slotted and expanded to allow the next piece to slide in there for ease. This makes for ease of shipment, but then also for ease of installation when you go to install it on the car.
Absolutely. Easy to adjust that way as well
Right.
when you're installing. As an installer, I appreciate that.
Right.
Cool, so once we have everything that goes through the prep section, it heads over to weld. Right now we have a ton of carts that are prepping to be welded. And like I said before, everything's welded in a fixture. That's how we get the perfect fitment guarantee. That way every single piece that goes out of here is the same. And then in the rare event that someone gets something that isn't fitting up right, we can bring it back and check in the fixture and make sure there's nothing amiss. But I can't even name a time that's happened.
Right.
It's nice to have though as a nice safety net. And you can see all the fixtures back there for every single pick letter we've ever made. Currently made, yeah.
And not only Corvette, but like I said, you know, looking at the heritage of what the company did, you guys still are doing all the European market
Absolutely.
stuff now, including more of the domestic stuff, like you said, with the trucks and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's not just Corvette, guys.
Nope.
If you've got a foreign or European car, you can certainly look to AWE for that exhaust work as well.
Yeah, we're trying to do a little bit of each thing, a little bit of each market, the performance parts of each market. So although 90% of what we do in here is done by human hands, we do have a few machines. This one right here is Abby.
Abby, all right, very cool.
So I wish it was running, but it's not. We can show you around the far side since it's not running, a little bit of a closer look. Someone does still need to man this machine and just watch it over as it does its work, but what this does is it's basically a plasma cutter, and it cuts those really precise holes. So when I was telling you guys about the 180 technology, that's what we use this for. We also use this for if there's a really tight bend and we need an opening near the tight bend, where it would be really difficult for a human to cut that. Abby can do it within seconds. That allows us to get that super, super precise fit, the precise feel and function of the exhaust. So that's what we use Abby for. We also have a CNC machine. This cuts a bunch of different pieces for us, including a valve simulator, which what is cutting right now. There's actually a few on the shelf if you want to check them out, but that's another thing that we do in-house here. Again, made in the USA, all the way down to the brackets. Yep, absolutely. You can even see one of the brackets is being cut out of a piece of aluminum right now. So we also have our laser etcher here. This etches our logo on our cans, and it also makes our badges. There will be a badge on every single exhaust system, and what it does is it allows us to track that system, so it'll have a serial number on it. It also has the name, whether it's track or touring, and it allows you to know that you have an authentic AWE product because of the badge, and it allows us to track internally if you ever need it for warranty issues. And we also do all of our electronics prep in the corner as well. Our valve simulators are all done in-house by hand.
Very cool. So this is where you make the jewelry, basically.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Just the little odds and ends back here. So once the different pick letters are put onto the shelf, as the orders come in, orders to fill, they are picked and packed. So they'll grab an order that needs to be filled, they'll grab a cart, they'll pick all the different pick letters. This is another opportunity to just check everything over, make sure that everything looks good, everything looks nice, put it on a cart. We actually have an example of that right here. All right, so we have a track exhaust for an Audi. They'll have this card, they'll pick all the different pieces with all the various pick letters on them. This is where our tips get packed in their own individual tip boxes as well. This is where the lollipop goes in. He's inspecting our tips right now to make sure everything is looking good. This is one of our packing stations. Everyone's packing tips right now, just to make sure everyone's...
Wait, before you close that box, we got to see the lollipop. The AWE sticker, and then you got the blow pop in there as well, and those tips look great. Thanks, guys.
And then when they're not packing tips, just we so happen to catch them all packing tips at once, they'll be in there, one of their packing stations. We use all of our packing material. Some we create in-house, and some comes out of that machine right there. We try to pack all of our systems so you know, the shipping companies can't destroy them on the way to you guys. And then we saw the door where it comes in right there.
Right.
And these are the doors where it heads out right here.
Excellent. So we got pallets laid out, ready to go. And like I said, that's the door right over there where they came in. And this is the door where they head out to you guys. And you guys are shipping everywhere, right? Where, you know?
We ship worldwide. So some of the larger pallets you saw there that are all wrapped up, those will go out to a distributor. So you can still order through our dealers. You can order through us. And we do ship worldwide. Pretty much there's only a certain amount of restrictions, but it's pretty much everywhere.
Excellent. And for those that are heading out to Corvettes at Carlisle, it's held every August in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. These guys will have a booth set up so you can actually come down, listen to, and see the exhaust systems that are there. And then they have one of their local dealers and distributors and installers that will do the install right there at Corvettes at Carlisle on the show field. So you can drive in with a stock sounding exhaust and then drive home with a much better sounding exhaust and a better performing exhaust as well on your Corvette.
It's a great deal.
And currently from the Corvette generations, you guys are doing the C7 and the C8, correct?
Yes, and I do have some news I'm going to share. If I'm allowed, I'm going to say it anyway. We hear you every year. I've worked Corvettes at Carlisle with AW a few times. Number one question, where is C6? Where is C6? So C6 is on our list to look into. Brandon is going to work through it with R&D. So we will look into offering a C6, and barring any sort of crazy reason why we can't, we're going to look into offering that one as well.
Very cool. Love to see the fact that, you know, you're still taking care of the older generations, because quite frankly, a lot of those cars are changing hands in the secondary ownership at this point.
Yeah.
As original C6 owners are moving up to a C8. Now that second owner on that C6 can customize and make his Corvette sound better and perform better with an AWE system. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that tour of the AWE setup back here. Like I said, the place is phenomenal. But one of the questions that I have is, the Corvette, if you get the NPP exhaust, that comes with valves from the OEM setup. How do you guys talk to or explain what you guys do with the valving situation?
Sure. Well, surprisingly, a lot of people don't want to keep those. They want more sound that the factory NPP doesn't provide. A lot of folks, the feedback we get is that they expected it to be so much more, and it really falls short. So when we're designing exhaust, obviously we take that into consideration, but we don't marry ourselves to that. We want to do a ton of testing. We want to prove that it's needed. We don't just slap it on there because the OE did. And in this situation, we were able to achieve a similar result without having to put a valve in there, without having to have that extra cost, something else to fail. We have the Touring Edition, and as I was saying before, it has the 180 technology resonators. It allows you to sort of have the best of both worlds. It achieves what you're trying to achieve with a valve, which is loud when you step on the throttle and smooth and quiet down when you're cruising. So you don't really need a valve in there. That's sort of extra equipment. And we do also offer those valve simulators, so you don't have to worry about getting a check engine light with our exhaust at all. We actually have a no check engine light guarantee. Excellent.
So no check engine light guarantee. Very, very cool. So this exhaust kind of has the valves built into it, so to speak, in the fact that, it depends on what you're doing on the throttle, how the exhaust will sound.
Your foot is the valve controller.
Excellent.
And you can save a bunch of money over valve systems, especially a lot of guys for our cars that do have valve systems on them, they say it's always open anyway.
All right, excellent. And then one last question, not to put you on the spot, but the blow pop. We got to know the history of the blow pops in the systems.
Somehow it sort of snuck its way into being an inside joke, and now it's in every single order we ship out a blow pop as sort of a special treat for doing your own install, or just something to enjoy while you're listening to your new exhaust system. So.
Very cool. So thank you very much. I'm glad to see you guys continuing to, push the envelope forward on new products for new cars. For example, that C8 Z06, but then also not forgetting about the heritage of where the Corvette came from with the potential of the C6 exhaust coming out. So All right, so thank you. So what's a good website to get more information on what you guys have available for the Corvettes?
Sure. For Corvettes, you can head to awecorvette.com and it'll bring you right to the landing page for all the Corvette systems we have.
Oh, very cool. So one of the guys asked during the tour, any idea what time frame from start to finish? Not putting you on the spot by any stretch of the imagination, but if someone orders a C8 system, generally how, because again, you don't keep inventory on the shelves. So what does something like that time frame, in general, in a perfect scenario, from order to ship?
Sure. So it's going to take a few weeks for us, as you saw out there, to be able to build the systems. We build them in the order that they're made, and it takes a little while, typically right now about 3 to 4 weeks, but we're working really hard to get that number down, so you might post this video and it might change. But you're welcome to hit us up. We're happy to give you the current lead times, and you can also hit us up for, hey, you guys are making my exhaust, how much longer? We're happy to let you know about that as well.
All right.
Because they are all handmade.
Yes, and you guys see, they're kind of made to order, guys, and call it just in time, so they're not making exhaust to put on the shelves. They're making exhaust to ship. So, and I'm sitting here watching in the background, and I'm going to take Sarah off camera here, because when you come in to wait here, this is what you get to watch and listen to. They've got all different exhaust systems and so forth running on this loop, on this video feed, and it talks about all the different exhausts and what they sound like. And then Sarah, I mentioned this earlier, this is the best phone number to call and be put on hold, because what happens when you get put on hold here?
Well, we tried to make the hold music a little bit more bearable, so it is exhaust sounds. It might take the pain away a little bit that you have to be put on hold.
Excellent. So give these guys a call. Check out their website,
Sure.
AWE Exhaust. My God, these things are phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by, guys.
Here we go. Ben's inside. We're going to fire this sucker up. Sounds good enough. All right, like I said, we are now outside at AWE, and we are going to get ready for the old-fashioned rev-off. And we've got 4 Corvettes out here today from the original Garden State Corvette Club. We have this particular exhaust, which is an OEM factory exhaust. We're going to be able to show you the touring as well as the sport mode. This C7 Corvette, again, factory intakes and so forth, no head and cam jobs on any of these cars. This has got the AWE touring exhaust. This C7, again, factory intake, cam, headers, and so forth, running the AWE track exhaust. And then the C8 Corvette, again, all factory as far as the exhaust components up until the catback, and this has got the AWE touring. So with that said, let's head back over, and we're gonna say hello to Steve and ask him to give it a start up. So Steve, go ahead and start the sucker up. Go ahead and stab it twice. So that's the touring. So now you're gonna go ahead and put it in sport. All right, go ahead and stab it a little bit, Steve. Sounds good. All right, go ahead and turn that sucker off, Steve. All right, we got Jeff with a C7, and he's got the AWE touring exhaust. Go ahead and start it up, Jeff. Go ahead. Very nice, Jeff. Go ahead and turn that off. Then we got Frank with the track exhaust. So Frank, go ahead and start her up. ahead and give it a little. Very nice. Thank you, sir. And then we have Lynn in the C8 with the C8 AWE. This is the track exhaust. So go ahead, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. I'm sitting back here giggling. That was beautiful. So there you go, guys. That's what your AWE exhaust will sound like on your Corvette. So which was your favorite during the AWE Corvette rev off? Mention it in the comments below. Check out the parking lot here at AWE. Really, really cool. These guys aren't just showing up in Toyota Camrys coming to work. These guys are enthusiasts. So you can see the cars. We're all getting ready to leave. They want to film us heading out, but I just want to show you, you know, GTIs. Look at all the BMWs that are down here. Again, domestic product with the Ford Mustang. Another Mach 1 Mustang, Jim. Mach 1 Mustang. And then look at all the BMW stuff and Audis and Subarus that they've got here. So these guys are enthusiasts through and through. So by all means, be sure to check out AWE exhaust and AWE tuning for all of your exhaust needs, no matter what you're driving, from Corvette, Mustang, European stuff. Really, really cool. So thanks for watching this episode of Zippy's Garage.